Hello, hello, Nikki with Some Love Creations here. Hey, I'm going to create a little sign using a mini charcuterie board that I purchased from Hobby Lobby in their fall section. I'm also going to use a wood kit that I purchased off of Etsy. It's a little snowman that I think is going to fit perfectly on this little sign. I'm using folk art chalk paint in cottage white. I'm going to get all of my edges and then I'm going to paint my snowman fully with this. I'm making sure to get all the edges, making sure I don't have any brush marks in there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Dixie Belle chalk mineral paint in the color Caviar. I'm going to paint the cutting board. I'm also going to paint any of the accents that I need. Here I'm doing the little scarf. This is done in Dixie Belle Collard Greens, my favorite color this year. It's like a very dark green gray almost. I'm doing the base coat of the scarf with collard greens, getting the front and back. I wasn't sure which side I would want to use it on, so I figured I'd paint both sides. And then once that's fully painted, I'm going to go ahead and use my folk art chalk paint in Tuscan red. And with this, I'm just using a smaller paintbrush and I'm creating red stripes on his scarf for the red and green. Thought it would be festive. I'm hitting the edges as well, just in case you can see it from wherever you're standing. I want to make sure it's, fully coated. There's this cute little cardinal cutout that came with this, and I'm just painting that with the Tuscan red as well. Now I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in pumpkin, and I'm going to paint the little carrot nose cutout, again, making sure I'm getting those edges. Just getting a nice coat on that. I was getting it all over my fingers, you guys. Now I'm going to take my little gator sander and I want to sand this up, just distress it a little bit. I'm going to make sure that I get those edges because I want some of that natural wood to show through. And I like to go horizontally and vertically when I sand, just like the texture that it gives. Wipe all that sand dust off. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the little snowman, sanding that all up, roughing up those edges, trying to get a little of that wood to show through on the edges. I am a grunger, so I do like to grunge my products. Excuse me, my projects. I'm taking my little nail file. I like to keep stock of those just to get into those little spots that's a little more difficult to get in with that sander. I'm also taking that file and sanding that scarf up. Again, doing the same thing, vertical and horizontal, roughing that up. I'm going to do the same with the little carrot nose. I had some noses that I created out of clay that I'm pulling out here that I wasn't sure if I would want to use that or if I wanted to use the wood cutout. Here I'm just placing everything, trying to figure out which side I need to sand of the brim of the hat. Again, just sanding everything up to give it that little rustic old feel. I'm going to take my caviar out again, and I'm going to paint the hat that's on the snowman. Sand that up as well. Now let's start putting this together. Just figuring out my layout, but I thought, how cool would it be? I got these IOD stamp set. It's the snowflakes. It was just released in the 2024 Christmas release. I'm taking my Versamark, I guess it's ink. It's more like a gel, excuse me, and I'm putting that on my stamp, and then I'm stamping that down onto my board. I'm going to grab a smaller snowflake, do the same thing, my Versamark, and the Versamark is clear. It's a very sticky gel-like substance that's on that ink pad. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I have some old embossing powder. It's white and I have clear. And I'm going to mix those together. And then what I'm going to do, I mix them together in this cup and I'm going to shake it all over the gel stamp that's down on my board. I just want to make sure that all of that gets covered. So I'm sprinkling this all over, and then you want to tap it off. Make sure you get all of that off, and then you're left with the powder on the stamp. So then you take a heat tool, and you want to keep moving your heat tool, and you see it start to turn white. It turns a shiny white once it's set. You want to keep your heat tool moving over that stamp though, because you don't want to burn it, but you keep heating it, and once it gets to the perfect temperature, it's going to emboss and it'll be white or whatever color you're using. There's so many different embossing powders out there. So now I'm going to attach my snowman. Just going to line this up on the edge of the cutting board. Look at how cute he is. I just love him. Hold that there for a second, making sure he's lined up. Looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take the end of one of my paint brushes, and I'm going to use that end, and I'm going to dip the end into the caviar paint and put some eyes in there. Dry those up really quick so I don't smudge them. Now I'm going to glue the brim of my hat down. I'm taking some blush that I have. I just use Dollar Tree blush, and I put my dauber in it and just lightly tapped it, set it down and like twisted it a little bit just to give a light rosy cheek. Now I'm taking my dark sealing wax. Oh, and you can't really see me grunging up the little carrot nose. I did decide to go with the wooden cutout that came with the kit. I'm just grunging that up a little bit. I just take a little makeup brush and use that. You can use a dauber as well, or the makeup blenders, whatever you like. You can use your finger. I used my finger as well. Here, I need to create the mouth. So I placed my carrot, and I got my center dot, and I'm just using a detailer that has a ball at the end of it. Now I'm taking my dark sealing wax. I am going around my snowman. Give it a little more dimension, getting those edges. And then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to pull it in just to give it some more depth. I love the textures. Not too much, but just enough, in my opinion. If you like more grunge, go ahead, grunge it up. I'm making sure to get those sides. I am getting the hat a little bit. Now I'm going to grab the white and that same little dot tool, and I'm going to add little pupils in his eyes. Let's glue that nose down. Let me figure out where that scarf is going to go, because then I'm going to take again that caviar after I grunge up the scarf. I'm going to take that caviar. Oh, nope, not yet. I forgot. I want to add a little tag down below. So I'm just taking a piece of fabric here and cutting it down to size and ripping it because I like those torn edges. And I'm just going to pull the ends off. I'm placing that there. Now I'm grabbing a stamp set. It's an old Stampin' Up! Set called Spirited Snowman. And I'm using the phrase winter cheer. I am also using my archival ink from Ranger and taking that stamp and just stamping winter cheer onto that. Placing that down below, make sure I like the placement. Let's glue that on. I'm just using a little bit of hot glue. I do want to add a button to that too. Just again, a little more dimension. I thought that was cute. Now here I'm going to add the buttons. So I'm dipping that dotting tool in my caviar paint and just dotted the buttons down. Now I'm going to glue my scarf on. Look at him. Isn't he coming out so cute? You guys, if you don't want to use a wood cutout, you could do this with cardboard. Grab some cardboard, get online and get a snowman design that you like and trace it onto cardboard. This whole thing can be done with cardboard as well. It doesn't have to be done with wood. Or you could even use cardstock. And if you want the dimension, put like little dimensional dots on the back of it to lift it up. That would be super cute. Here I've got my little bow dabber out and I'm creating a little bow. I'm using twine, a little bit of muslin, and I have this burlap ribbon that's got white snowflakes on it. I thought would be fitting for this little project. I was having problems with the ribbon here. It kept popping out on me. So I'm just adding that in, creating my loops. Just wanted a small little bow. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to tie this off, keeping that in place for me. Double knot it on the back. But I'm going to keep that twine for right now because I want to add a little twine bow to the front. So I'm just going to do that by hand here in a second. Fluffing this out, filling it out, moving those where I want them to be. I feel like you can fuss with bows all day. Okay, so let's grab that twine. I'm just doing little loops back and forth, however many you like. And then I'm going to lay that on top, take my twine and wrap that around a couple times, and then tie it in the back. Again, a double knot. And then I'm going to cut the excess off. Fluff it up again. Let's check that placement. Looks good. Let's get that glued down. Doesn't that look cute? Okay, here I'm just grabbing some greenery I have, and I'm adding it to my bow to lift my bow and give it a more some more motion and to fill it out. I feel like it needed something. So I'm adding a couple different greenery picks that I got from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to glue those in, adding it into my bow. Again, lifting that up to give it more movement and fullness. And I like using a couple different types of greenery when I'm doing mine. I feel like it just gives it more character. So one has like a little snowy design on it. Another one's just more lifelike greenery, which actually the one I'm using now is a napkin ring from Hobby Lobby that I just took the pieces off. Just trying to figure out what more I want. Did I want something on the hat? I decided against it since we had some greenery up in the bow. But I do need to get our little bird glued on, which I'm going to do right here. Get it on the brim of his hat. And how sweet is he? I think he turned out so cute. I am taking a pine cone and I'm going to put that in the center since I used a button down below. And he's done, you guys. Look at how cute he is. Thank you so much for joining me.